We all drove up to Wyoming and, Garrison was our passenger.
I was the first one that held him. He's my son.
In the days leading up to Garrison Brown's unfortunate death, Flagstaff was shrouded in a disturbing stillness. Behind the closed blinds and empty hallways that outsiders observed, tensions were quietly building to explosion levels within the dysfunctional Brown family residence. While no one outside perceived anything more than shut windows and uneventful corridors, Robyn Brown sat by herself in her bedroom, trembling hands quivering over her illuminated phone screen. Garrison's name still flashed faintly on her caller ID, a call she never spoke of to anyone, not even to Kody. "Why are you calling me?" Robyn had hissed that evening, her voice cold and taut. On the phone, Garrison's voice trembled, heavy with fatigue and venom. "Because I have to tell you this, not him," he'd said, his voice slicing through the silence. Months later, the truth of that phone call became public in the most unlikely way. Hidden deep within Robyn's encrypted files, the recording resurfaced after a private investigator hired at the behest of one of Kody's former wives during a bitter custody fight unearthed it. The news would ruin everything. Garrison's tone on that phone call wasn't whining. He wasn't sobbing. He wasn't begging. Instead, he spoke with tortured lucidity. "Hello guys, welcome back. In case you forgot, don't forget to hit that like button. This story will leave you speechless." Garrison's tone was deliberately guarded. "You and Dad destroyed this family. You ran him away from us. He thinks we're the enemies because of you, and now he won't even answer my calls." Robyn was silent. "What hurts most," Garrison continued, "is not that he chose you, it's that he left us like we never were, like we were just a failed experiment." Robyn's voice shook a little in response. "That's not fair. You don't know what your father is facing." Garrison winced, his suffering revealed. "I do know. He can't even breathe without you telling him it's all right. You have him trapped." And then Robyn said in a sentence that would haunt forever, "Maybe it would have been better if you and your brothers had just kept your mouths shut and listened." The moment the call became public, the consequences were swift and ruinous. Kody received the encrypted audio in an anonymous email while he was away from town attending a men's convention in Las Vegas. As he pressed play, something inside of him snapped. Slumping on the floor of his hotel room, he softly whispered, "Number no, no," repeatedly. But it didn't matter. Kody, for the first time, saw Robyn's manipulation for what it was, a lie not just on him, but on his children. Janelle collapsed into tears when she heard the recording. Christine listened silently, then turned her phone off and muttered, "I knew it all along." But to hear him suffer is beyond forgiveness. The following morning, Mary posted an enigmatic post on Instagram. "Lies run quickly, but the truth is strong even if it comes too late." When pressure mounted, Robyn cracked. In a never-broadcast TLC exclusive, she wept on camera. "I never wanted this. Garrison was suffering. I was trying to protect Kody. I was scared," she insisted through tears. But by that point, no one believed her anymore. Janelle's rage burst in another leaked video. "You weren't protecting Kody, you were protecting your control. You let our son die feeling abandoned and unloved." Kody spiraled into insanity. He canceled 2 tapings, wouldn't speak with producers, dropped from sight on social media, and ultimately ran out of Robyn's house without a comment or even a suitcase. The leaked call was a national flashpoint. Podcasters dissected every word. Mental health experts weighed in on the dysfunctional family dynamics. TLC executives felt forced to issue a statement. "We are saddened by the tragic loss of Garrison Brown and are conducting an investigation into the unauthorized disclosure of sensitive information. Our sympathies remain with the Brown family." But no corporate statement could erase what had been revealed. Garrison's final words to the sole individual he blamed for their demise rang throughout the country. Raw and shattered, his voice forced the truth into the light, a truth that now would no longer be muffled. In the most tearful reunion on Sister Wives history, TLC brought the family together at a secluded ranch lodge in southern Utah. They had only one message: no scripted questions, no probed interviews, just unfiltered, unadulterated tears. The reunion was more trial by fire than family reunion. Mary was the first to arrive, dressed in somber black, unfashionable but to grieve. She had not spoken to Robyn since the leak, although she had heard that call 1,000 times. Each time, however, it had not been Garrison's distress that stayed with her longest but Robyn's cold words. "Perhaps this is better." Robyn appeared traumatized, sitting at one end of the huge table, her hair mussed, makeup struggling to stay on. Kody sat beside her, a shadow of his old self-unkempt beard, sunken eyes, without his usual cockiness. Across from them were Janelle and Christine, arms folded, faces stern. Janelle did not even glance Kody's way. Mary broke the stifling silence first, her voice hard, and barked, "You said it was better this way. What did you mean by that, Robyn?" Robyn's lip shook as she stammered, "I didn't mean it that way. I just wanted to protect him." Mary cut her off, boring into her with a glare. "That's always the excuse, isn't it? Protecting Kody. Never the kids. Never us." Kody's eyes finally rose, his voice quivering. "None of us knew what was going on with Garrison." Mary slammed her hand down on the table, her fury spilling over. "We did. We decided to close our eyes. You brushed off your son's phone calls. You isolated him because he wasn't willing to submit to Robyn, and now he's dead. And we're going to act like this was some terrible accident?" Tears streamed down Christine's face. Janelle beside her, silent but visibly shattered. Janelle took a step back, covering her trembling lips. Robyn lost it. She shook uncontrollably as she folded in on herself, sobbing hysterically. "I didn't hurt him," she sobbed between tears. "You didn't care enough to stop," Mary snapped, her voice rising, rough and unyielding. That call wasn't made in a spirit of helpfulness. That call was made in a spirit of reminding him that he didn't matter. You told a lonely, vulnerable son that he'd be better off quiet and obedient, and now he's dead. Kody sprang to his feet. For a moment, he looked as if he might bellow. Instead, he just stared at Mary, blank and shattered. "You blame yourself?" he managed to say, shaking. "You hear his voice in your head every day?" "No," Janelle managed to whisper between tears. "We believe Robyn's voice was always louder to you. A family completely broken apart, all of it filmed." The producers kept rolling, knowing they were witnessing something genuine and lost forever. It would later be utilized as a shocking 2-part special titled Sister Wives, The Truth We Buried. In the final seconds, Mary got up and approached Robyn. For an instant, she appeared to embrace her. Instead, she leaned close, her eyes cold and crystal clear. "Your mother adopted you through fraud. You ruined all the bond we had, and now, due to you, we've buried a son who passed away thinking that he was not wanted. You're crying now, but you never cried when it counted." Robyn doubled over in her hands, crying harder than before. In silence, Mary turned and left the room. This time, she did not turn around. After the reunion, Mary completely withdrew from filming. In a quiet interview days later, Christine put it this way: "I don't hate Robyn. I pity her, but I will never trust her again." Janelle channeled her sorrow into action, starting the Every Child Heard campaign, a Garrison memorialized nonprofit mental health organization. Robyn and Kody became quiet as well. Rumors of an impending breakup spread far and wide, but they never made an official statement. When the reunion special came on, the world saw not just a family on the edge, but a family too damaged to keep pretending anymore. Over the days that followed, headlines dominated the headlines. Viewers flooded TLC's social media platforms, demanding justice. Mental health experts dissected the poisonous dynamic that had been in the works for decades. For Kody, the repercussions were intimate. For all those years, he saw himself as the bewildered father, the glue that kept the unconventional family together. Now, with Garrison dead and Robyn choking on the weight of guilt, he was forced to confront a silence he could not escape. It all came to a head one evening late. In the forebodingly quiet Flagstaff living room, Kody stood alone. The children were grown or gone. Robyn had locked herself upstairs and barely spoke. Among the family photos, Kody's eyes landed on a creased photo of Garrison in uniform, smiling and alive. Suddenly, Kody fell to his knees. The weight of his coldness, the silent phone calls, and the queasy brightness of that spilled-out chat with Robyn all came crashing down on him at the same moment. He slumped to the floor, sobbing in ugly, bestial waves. Between his tears, he addressed the empty room at last. I let him down. I let them all down. Kody first tried to phone Janelle. She didn't pick up. Then, he texted Christine. Her response was direct and concise. I hope you mean it, but it's too late. Finally, he sent a message to Gabriel. Can I see you? Please. Days passed. Then, without warning, Gabriel agreed, but only at Garrison's graveside. On an overcast morning, in a peaceful cemetery located among the Pinot-covered hills outside Flagstaff, Kody arrived. No photos were allowed. Kody had brought just one frayed old photo he and Garrison, smiling and dusty at a construction site years earlier. Gabriel stood over the headstone, arms crossed tight, jaw clenched. Kody walked up slowly, already crying. Gabriel, Kody began unevenly. You can't fix this. Gabriel cut in, his tone bitter. Kody glared down. I just wanted you to know how sorry I am. I should have called him back. I should have defended the two of you. I let Robyn. No. Gabriel broke in, his voice cold and unyielding. Don't you dare take fault with Robyn. You chose to do it. You ignored us like we didn't exist. My brother is dead, and you expect it to be fine now because you're here? Gabriel's voice cracked as he continued. I don't need your tears. I needed you there. Garrison needed your love. You gave it all to her and her kids, and left us begging for seconds. A heavy, painful silence enveloped everyone. And then, to the surprise of everyone in the room, Gabriel stepped forward, placed a hand on Kody's shoulder, and spoke. I don't forgive you. Not yet, but actually appearing is the beginning. Not for Robyn. Not for the cameras. For us. In the ensuing weeks, Kody started rebuilding off-camera and off social media. When he traveled to Madison in North Carolina, he sat down and listened as she gave him her sorrow over his not being present during his last days with Garrison. He penned letters to all of his older children, not apologies, but actual apologies. Kody walked off from filming completely. He would not appear on any TLC shows until he had, in his own words, faced every lie I told myself. Meanwhile, Robyn went back into silence. Rumors circulated about a rumored private breakup. For the first time in more than a decade, Kody was alone by choice. Months afterward, TLC broadcast a special memorial episode called Garrison, The Voice We Missed. In the last scene, Gabriel stood by himself at Garrison's grave. Looking straight into the camera, he stated, he deserved better. From our father. From all of us. But I won't allow his memory to be dictated by anger. He was kind. He was funny. He loved deeply. He was a soldier, a brother, a son. We'll keep him alive, not just in grief, but in truth. The screen flickered off, but it left nothing behind but the soft whisper of wind in leaves, and the memory of a young man who spoke his truth, even when no one was going to listen. 2 months later, Robyn's old, intimidating Flagstaff home, once famous as Robyn's Fortress, stood unoccupied and quiet. The blinds were still closed. Blinds that were once immaculate now hung low and worn out. Mugs that were empty adorned the kitchen sink, a sad testament to a family that ultimately fell apart from within. The front hallway of Robyn Brown's home was stacked with unopened mail. The silence that surrounded her wasn't peaceful, it was the thick silence of exile. In the wake of the leaked telephone call, the explosive reunion show, and the complete collapse of her marriage to Kody, Robyn was alone for the first time in years. Yet the final, deepest cut of all did not originate from Mary, not from Christine, not even from Kody. It came from her own children. It started in a private family chat group. Janelle started the thread, which included Dayton, Aurora, Brianna, and Solomon, not to Robyn bash, but to give the Brown children a safe space to openly share their pain and grief. It was part of a healing circle Janelle had created with the older siblings after Garrison's death. The idea was simple: vulnerability and truthfulness. What began as warm, morning check-ins soon turned far more raw. Dayton, Robyn's usually stoic, loyal, fiercely protective son, finally had his say. "Mom," he wrote. I heard that call too, and I won't pretend anymore. Garrison was my brother. You heard him too. There was an hour of silence. Then Aurora replied, you said horrible things. I heard that call 3 times. I used to believe you were misunderstood. Now, I don't know who you are anymore. Later that week, Brianna and Solomon quietly left the group chat without a word. Soon after, they also physically left the house. Dayton rented an apartment near his college. Aurora moved to Utah to live with Christine. Solomon stayed with Kody's sister temporarily while arrangements for custody were made. Robyn stayed alone in the empty house. Janelle's confrontation. Janelle didn't plan on having another battle with Robyn after the reunion. She'd sworn she was done. But when Aurora showed up at her Utah doorstep, crying and upset, Janelle knew she had to do something. She went to Flagstaff immediately. She didn't even knock for the first time in years. Robyn didn't have the energy to try to shut her out. The only noise was the creak of the old floorboards underfoot as Janelle stepped into the darkened kitchen. The two women stood looking at each other in heavy silence. Robyn looked completely drained, her face streaked with dried mascara, eyes hollow and unfocused. What are you doing here? Robyn asked in a low, gravelly voice. Janelle didn't stop. To finish this, to say what must be said, and to prevent you from spinning this into some other pity story. You don't get to play the victim now. Not after what you said to Garrison. Not after how you used Kody and ruined his relationship with his children. Robyn tried to interrupt. It wasn't fair. None of this was what I wanted. You manipulated every decision, Janelle shot back. You cried when it suited you. You kept Kody from his own kids. You never saw us as family. We were obstacles, competition. I loved him, Robyn whispered. Then why did you help drive him away from us? Why did you make him think that Garrison's hurt was disrespect? He was a child, just a child trying to hold his father accountable. Robyn's crying started again, but Janelle wouldn't back off. Now he's dead, Janelle continued. And you sit here in this tomb of deceptions. Your own kids have deserted you. That should tell you something. Robyn clutched at her belly, as if Janelle had hit her. I didn't mean to lose them. You didn't just lose them, Robyn. You pushed them away. Before leaving, Janelle had gone and stood by the mantel in the living room. There was an old family photo in a frame from before Robyn had joined all of them smiling, together, as a unit. She placed a folded note beside it. That's from Aurora, Janelle said. She says she'll return when you're done lying to yourself. And with that, Janelle turned and walked away. Robyn did not notice her go. She fell to the floor in the hallway, cradling the note but dreading opening it. The quiet in the house wasn't vacancy now, it was the echo of fallout. The children unite. It was ironic that it was Garrison's death that finally brought the siblings closer than years of dysfunction ever could. Even though the older Brown children had all started their own separate lives, some married, some parents, some having relocated far from home, they came together in a way in which no one expected. It began with one simple social media post from Gabriel. He was more than my brother. In a family that didn't want to hear the truth, he spoke it anyway. I want his life to mean something. The post went viral within minutes. Thousands of comments poured in from well-wishers, family, fellow veterans, and mental health advocates. Soon, Madison, Logan, Leon, Mykelti, Paydon, and Hunter all shared their own grief and memories of Garrison. But behind the scenes, something even bigger was taking place. The siblings announced a new nonprofit in the name of the last words of Garrison in his own recording. I just wanted to be heard. Heard the Garrison Brown Foundation for Veterans and Mental Health Care. The foundation featured 2 main missions: to aid mental health in youth who are from broken homes, and to help veterans transition back into civilian life, an area that had been a tremendous difficulty for Garrison. Madison became the managing director. Logan led partnerships before transitioning into business development. Gabriel stepped in as the emotional face of the foundation. Leon re-emerged out of the blue to help with outreach and legal structuring. Even Hunter and Gwen, who had earlier distanced themselves, joined in. They held a grand launch at an outdoor amphitheater in Salt Lake City. Over 500 guests were invited, including journalists, mental health professionals, veteran groups, and close family friends. Robyn and Kody were not invited. In fact, they learned about the foundation only through a tabloid leak. Kody tried calling Madison. She left him on voicemail. He texted Gabriel. Nothing. He ended up emailing all of his kids. I understand you need space, but he was my son too. I loved him. Don't shut me out of honoring him. The siblings held a secret meeting. They all voted unanimously. Kody and Robyn were not invited to go. The final straw was when Hunter found a draft of an email on Garrison's old computer. It was dated only 2 weeks before Garrison died. The topic was, "In case I disappear." It was not a suicide letter, but an accounting letter. Garrison needed his siblings to understand that he loved them in the event that he passed away. He did not wish for a pretend funeral where his dad pretended that they were near, or Robyn weeping on television. He needed the reality. No falsehoods, no rewrites. What's more, he needed Janelle to go from there. During a family Zoom call, Hunter read the letter aloud as the siblings cried. That letter sealed their decision. The foundation was launched at sunset with beautiful skies. Janelle lit the first candle surrounded by her children. Photos of Garrison's life smiling with his brothers, helping his mom, in his National Guard uniform, were shown on a large screen. Gabriel stepped up and said in a cracked voice that they were told to be quiet and submissive, but Garrison was honest, and more than a brother, he was a mirror reflection of himself. Gabriel promised to dedicate his life to making sure people like Garrison are heard. The audience gave a standing ovation. Robyn and Kody were not invited. Kody sat home staring at his phone, and when Madison texted him the link to the webcast, he did not open it. Robyn asked softly if they showed photos. They don't want us anymore, Kody said plainly. Robyn did not cry or attempt to reassure him. She just was silent, at last comprehending this was the price of denial and manipulation. A month later, a plaque was put up at the foundation headquarters that read, "For Garrison, you were not only a victim of silence, you were a beacon of truth. You will always be heard." Mary gave a shocking speech at a Salt Lake City women's conference. Mary, who had formerly been famous for her silent loyalty, now spoke about the pain of silence, how it murdered her self-esteem, and led to the death of Garrison. She vowed not to be silent anymore. Mary detailed how Robyn's manipulation started in Las Vegas. Robyn isolated Kody, coached his emotions, and went on television with crocodile tears while trashing others behind closed doors. Mary said Robyn weaponized empathy, and Kody fell for it. Mary exposed how the move to Flagstaff was Robyn's plan, not a family decision. She demonstrated how Robyn got the prime house while Mary was left with a small rental. Mary was treated like a prop while Robyn played the victim. Mary explained how the pandemic had escalated Kody's anxiety, further alienating the family, making the children ashamed and blamed, especially Garrison. Mary told of the most callous remark Robyn uttered to Garrison, "Maybe it's better this way." No stepmother, she said, would make a remark like that, and now Garrison was gone. Mary stunned the audience by relating that before the divorce, Robyn and Kody asked her to start calling herself the family aunt to avoid confusion. Robyn sipped wine while Mary cried alone. Mary said Robyn wasn't a victim, she was the architect of the family's emotional pain. If that made Mary the villain, then so be it. She wouldn't just stand by and watch a child drown in rejection without trying to offer a hand. There was a standing, loud ovation from the audience. Some women yelled in agreement or cried. Mary said that she spoke not just for Garrison, but for all the women who were silenced and told to smile anyway. Robyn watched the speech live, broke down, and turned her phone off for 3 days. Kody was angry but made no public comment. Although TLC refused to air the speech, segments became viral on the internet, with over 25 million views within 3 days. Mary's new purpose came into focus when she said that she would be publishing a memoir called The First Wife, Loving Him Wasn't Enough. Her memoir reveals her personal agony, emotional journey, and the reality behind the half-told stories on television. In the teaser trailer, she makes a haunting statement. There were 4 wives in the family, but only one of us ever had to prove she was there. And now, I don't want to anymore. Months after Garrison's memorial service, the woman the public had once seen tearful, camera-ready, and fawned over by Kody was gone. In her place was a quiet woman, solo in a remote cabin outside Sedona, Arizona. Originally bought quietly through a family trust as a vacation home for Kody and Robyn, the house had also become both her refuge and prison. There was no contact with Kody. Robyn shut down all her social media and went underground. Her name was removed from future TLC shows. When her children stopped going to school in Flagstaff, they were taught at home by a part-time tutor. Robyn stayed home alone and didn't leave. When she did, she hid behind scarves, sunglasses, and a hunched head. Friends described her as emotionally changed, no longer tears, just a disquieting calmness, distant and uncommunicative. And then the silence was shattered by court papers. After months of quiet, Kody filed formal divorce from Robyn and requested an end to his legal guardianship of her 3 older children. The documents, filed in a closed Navajo County courthouse, were sealed, but a leak revealed astonishing details. Kody cited irreparable damage to their relationship, negative publicity, and the loss of trust and family integrity as reasons for divorce. He also requested revocation of guardianship for Aurora Brown, Brianna Brown, and legal adult Dayton Jessup. As soon as Robyn received the documents, she appeared to faint in the kitchen and would not talk for nearly an hour. Aurora traveled 3 hours to comfort her mother when Solomon, sitting at the table as it was being filed, summoned her. The woman who had once cried for familial harmony was now alone and abandoned under the empire she built disintegrating beneath her feet. We were informed by someone close to the family that Kody took only one call following the filing. It was brief and cold. Robyn said, "You promised to be there to defend my children at all times." Kody replied, "I defended you, I suppose, and you dismantled everything that was around us." Robyn, "I cannot fix this anymore. I cannot see myself." Kody, "Then you just wiped us out." Robyn, "You wiped them out first." Kody, "Garrison believed we did not love him when he passed away. His face visits me nightly, and I still hear your voice on that recording. I will never be able to forget it." And then Kody hung up. She responded on her personal blog, writing calmly, "It's too early, but too late. Every house built on lies eventually falls." Christine interviewed and stated, "He chose her, and now he's running from the mess that he created." On a podcast, the host invited Mary comment on the scenario, and she responded matter-of-factly, "Karma takes its time, but it's thorough when it comes." Aurora simply shared a dismayed 2-word Instagram story, "He went." Public response was fierce. The audience criticized the network for trying to reboot the Kody and Robyn brand without accountability. As a response, TLC pulled the plug on a spin-off show titled Sister Wives, Rebuilding the Brown Legacy. Instead, they axed a one-time special titled The Last Wife, The Rise and Fall of Robyn Brown. The documentary, featuring former producers, child psychologists, and estranged relatives, explores the manner in which Robyn gradually assumed control of the Brown family and then ultimately was the force that destroyed it. Weeks later, paparazzi captured a picture of Robyn solo, pushing a cart with 1 bag of groceries through a Sedona parking lot. No wedding ring, no makeup, jeans and a flannel shirt, messy bun. In the distance, a paper taped to a light pole showed a missing cat poster, responses to the name Shadow. The symbolism was clear to all similar to her. The woman was disappearing. If found, please return home. What do you guys think about this sad story? Tell us in comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more news like this. Thanks for watching, all.